I was clicking around YouTube as I typically do, and I got an ad, this incredibly despicable piece of propaganda from Planned Parenthood. And of course, it was in a Matt Walsh video, so this is not random, right? I saw, it was a couple months ago, I saw a James Klug video, shout out James Klug, and he was talking to people about Drag Queen Story Hour, and then of course I got an ad featuring some drag queens trying to sell me some makeup or whatever. So this is totally planned. And while Matt Walsh is talking about how some students are failing at their attempt, or they're failing to shut down his What is a Woman screenings, he's going around on tour playing this movie on campuses, college campuses, and as you might guess, there are a bunch of kids who just they can't handle that. The truth is too shocking and hateful. So he's talking about these kids who are trying to shut him down. Of course, they fail. But during that video, this ad pops up, and it's actually a little bit older. It's from December 2021, but I'm only recently seeing this. And of course, the good folks at Planned Parenthood, as their main source of income, I guess, starts to dwindle. Some of these places might actually be shutting down. I don't really know, but it seems like they are venturing into a new sector of false realities and just demonic behavior. And they describe it, is this normal? Puberty in intersex and non-binary people explained. And has a little description as well. Let me scroll down here just a little bit. As you go from being a kid to a grown-up, your body will change. If you're intersex, puberty may show up in a variety of different ways. If you're transgender or non-binary, you may find that the changes in your body during puberty don't line up with your gender identity. There are medicines you can take, blah, blah, blah. This is absolutely, it's pure evil. They're trying to brainwash these kids. It's geared directly towards teenagers and children, and they're just trying to make you believe that reality is not real. Again, I hate to harp on it, or actually I love to harp on it, but why can I not identify as a 19-year-old 7-foot kid and join the NBA draft? This just doesn't make any sense, how the only thing that you can change is your gender, right? Rachel Dolezal gets laughed out of the building because she said she was transracial. That's not real. But for some strange reason, this is real, and it's crucial that children learn about this. And their only goal is obviously to confuse these kids, make them dependent on the pharmaceutical industry, and just have complete control. Because like I always say, if you can convince somebody that you can magically change your gender from man to woman or vice versa, then you have complete control, right? Once you can get them to believe that biology and the reality that we've known that maintains humanity is just not real, then of course they will believe anything. The air outside their front door is dangerous, and you will die if you don't get 3 of these things and wear a mask until we tell you to stop, which we will never do because we will never relinquish control. But it's about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Let's see what these creeps have to say.
There's no one-size-fits-all puberty experience. If you're trans, intersex, or non-binary, know that you're not the only one feeling confused.
Okay, well, that's almost fair because, yes, everybody feels different and awkward when they go through puberty. And yes, intersex is a real thing, but we're talking about a fraction of a percent, and they're trying to blow it up as though it's this huge population. It's the same thing they do with abortion. They claim that rape and incest, it's like that's a fraction of it. And even if we said, okay, well, in those cases, fine, go ahead and do it, that wouldn't be good enough, right? Because we know that it's not really about that tiny little fraction. It's about complete control. And they're telling you, oh, well, you're trans or you're non-binary. Those are not real. I'm sorry. Like I went to college in San Francisco, and I'm old enough to know that it's. Let me just move on with the video.
For some intersex people, puberty may start later than age 14. You might experience some of puberty's changes and not others.
They're harping on this intersex thing. Like, how many intersex people have you met in your life? Honest question. It's a fraction of a percentage, and they use that little tiny wedge to pretend that this is happening all over the place, and the only way to fix it is to come to us, and we'll snip we'll slice you up.
And your body may or may not go through puberty on its own. There are medicines you can take to help your body start the process, like hormone replacement therapy. Some people decide on hormones or surgeries to help their bodies match up to their gender identity.
Of course, yeah. We're going to give you some drugs. They want you to be a slave to the pharmaceutical industry, and you're going to have to be constantly getting these checkups. I mean, we're seeing the detransition story go, making the rounds. They always, every couple of months, these, detransitioners go viral, and then the weirdo establishment left tries to take them down. And, we're always told to respect your lived experiences until that lived experience proves that this is absolute nonsense, in which case you get slammed and censored and all this stuff. But besides the, them not letting people who have gone through this and regret it tell their story, besides that, this, of course, is a push for more pharmaceuticals. We are basically owned by these pharmaceutical companies. They're pushing this Narcan all over the place. Obviously, the Rona juice, it just never stops.
Or how they feel inside about themselves. Your gender identity is real.
Your gender identity is real. Well, yeah, sure. But the fact that you have to state this, it's like when somebody constantly says, to be honest, it's like, well, were you lying before? Of course, you don't have to continue to state the obvious, but it's so manipulative what they're doing here.
There are medicines you can take to delay puberty for a while. They're called puberty blockers, and
more pharmaceuticals. This is what they're doing.
They work like a stop sign by halting the hormones testosterone and estrogen that cause puberty changes like facial hair growth and periods.
They work like a stop sign, and then you just start going again. So now you're 21 and you're off the puberty blockers, and I'm sure your life is just going to be completely normal now.
Puberty blockers are safe and can give you more time to figure out what feels right for you.
And for the record, we all know with the puberty blockers, outside of them saying, oh, well, it's safe. Yeah, it's your gender identity is real and puberty blockers are safe. Like they're laying it on really thick, right? We've heard this many times over. And another thing about the puberty blockers here, are we really to assume that they're going to put you on these things for a couple of years and then say, oh, well, I guess I feel normal. I don't want to go through with the transition. No, that, of course, is, for lack of a better term, grooming you into, of course, transitioning. You're not going to get on the puberty blockers and then say, wow, well, that was strange. I think, actually, the gender I was assigned at birth is the gender I identify with, and I'm glad I stopped it. I'm glad I stopped puberty to really get that clear, and I don't want to go through with the transition anymore. I guarantee you that is also going to be rare, because that is meant for you to obviously go through with the snip and the slice and all that stuff.
Body and your gender identity. You don't have to have all of the answers right now. So remember, it's all a work in progress, and it may take time to figure out what feels right to you.
Of course, and make sure that the pharmaceuticals, the drugs, are always on your mind.
But talking to a trusted adult and a nurse or doctor may help. Want to learn more? Go to PlannedParenthood.org/teens.
PlannedParenthood.org/teens. So this, to me, is the picture of evil. I mean, this propaganda is absolutely through the roof. We all saw the Supreme Court leak when the Roe v. Wade thing was overturned, and certain states had to, certain Planned Parenthoods in certain states started closing down, so they had to ramp this up and figure out another way to make money, and I guess sort of slowly exit the baby killing business and enter the child mutilation business.